We're live on YouTube.
All right. All right. Good morning. The first case I'm going to call is Dominic Compton. But I do not, we're actually starting just a little bit early. Dominic Compton, I don't see that he's on. Ms. Powers, do you have
information from the board?
Or do you want to wait for a few minutes? Either way is fine.
That would be my request. I did speak to him yesterday and he was planning on it.
Okay, it is a little bit early, so.
Your Honor, while
okay.
we're waiting, can I make a brief request?
Sure.
So I need to speak to Ms. Cretal, and I'm wondering if maybe I could just ask her to, if the court could ask her to hang up so I can call her, because I see she's appearing by phone. And then we can both log back in as soon as that call's been made.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Cretal, I don't know if you can hear me, but your attorney, Mr. Jacob, has asked that you hang up, and I think she may have already done so. All right, thank you, Mr. Jacob. Ms. Powers, do you have anyone in the courtroom that we can take?
Are you looking for?
Sir, what's your name?
Aaron Severson.
Okay. And who's your attorney?
We don't have one.
Go ahead and come forward.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead and come forward. I'm sorry, what was your last name?
Severson. S-E-V. Your wife first.
I'm just trying to respect so she doesn't appreciate it.
All right, this is... All right, if you are on Zoom, please make sure that you are muted until your case is called. This is case number XZ04022359. And Ms. Plyman, this is Aaron Severson?
Yes, I see that. He has 2 charges.
Yes.
And
no valid operator's license and an operating a vehicle without the registered certification or having it canceled.
and so it looks like he did appear for his last hearing and didn't have an attorney at that time. So the court ordered him to either, have an attorney at this hearing or appear in person, which he's done today.
And Mr. Severson, do you plan on hiring an attorney?
No, ma'am. I was hoping we could just settle this today.
Can you get the pro se?
I have the paperwork that
You do?
provided to me last time.
Okay, great. I didn't know if I'd handed that to you last time or not. If you could go ahead and pass that up to the clerk.
It's a little worse for the wear. It's been bouncing around
That's
the
okay.
kitchen for a little while.
I do see that you have signed this. Have you had a chance to go over this paperwork?
Yes,
And do you have any questions about this waiver? And did you want to screen for the public defender?
I'd love to just get this. We've been trying. I've been circumstances have drug us out for so long, and I'd love to just get it done and over with.
Okay, and so we'll go through this, and then you probably want to have a conversation with the prosecutor about the next steps.
Okay.
Okay? Do you understand that if this goes to trial or at any point in time during this case that you will be held to the same standards as an attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And that includes knowing the rules of criminal procedure and knowing the rules of evidence.
I have a basic understanding from being here a couple times before, so.
Okay. But do you understand that you won't have you'll be held to the same standard as an attorney on those points?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Do you understand that these are criminal charges which do carry potential jail sentences?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about that?
No, ma'am.
And do you still wish to waive your right to have an attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I am finding that you are making this knowingly and voluntarily, and I will approve this waiver of counsel, and I am signing this now. Ms. Plyman.
Thank you, Your Honor. So now that Mr. Severson has been accepted as appearing on behalf of himself going forward, I would ask that Mr. Severson contact the prosecutor's office over the phone and provide his mailing address or email to get discovery in this case. And then we can set up an appointment to talk about, what the state's offer is and that kind of thing. I just want to make sure that Mr. Severson has all the information before we talk.
Okay, all right, we'll go ahead and set another court date.
It appears that most of his speedy has been told. It initiated as of January 1st, so we have some buffer room.
Let's set this for February 24th at 8:45. And we'll put your phone number, the prosecutor's phone number on a piece of paper for you. Oh, you have it already. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Ms. Powers. All right, so go ahead and call Ms. Plyman and ask for discovery from the prosecutor's office, and then hopefully you guys can figure out what the next steps will be.
Is there a preferred time?
Ms. Plyman?
If you could just call my office, they will arrange to get the discovery to you, and you can ask to set an appointment at that time so that they can look at my schedule to make sure that I'm available.
I will do that directly.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And what's your name in the front? What was that?
Ed Forsman.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and come forward.
And Your Honor, Mr. Forsman is represented by Mr. Jacob.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if he's returned.
Let me see. Mr. Jacob, are you on Zoom?
Was there?
He may still be on a call, so thank you for coming forward. I'll have you come back in just a minute, okay?
Okay, all right.
Your attorney is present. He just is, I think, conferencing another.
I haven't had any chance to talk to him or anything like that yet.
Okay.
So,
All right. I'll call your case in just a moment. What's your name?
I'm his bride.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Critchlow?
Judge, I've got a matter, state versus Constantine.
Okay. Stephen Constantine?
Yes.
Stephen Constantine.
It should be on that.
Is Stephen Constantine on Zoom? If you are appearing by phone, you do need to hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm here. Hello?
Is your name Stephen Constantine?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, thank you.
Judge,
Hello.
Judge, we're here for readiness hearing today. We're not able to settle this case. It's set for the 4th. Is that the court's date that it sees there? February 4th for trial?
Just 1 second. I have to look here. Yes.
Thank you. We want to do that. I advise counsel we'll be seeking a self-defense or defense of property instruction in this case, and I don't really have any motions now. Is it the court's practice to set a limine motion day or?
Yes, motions in limine are generally heard the Monday before trial. However, due to the governor's most current orders that links us with Kitsap, Mason County, and Tuolumne County. I spent quite a bit of time yesterday looking at not only the governor's orders, but also the surrounding counties and what they are doing. And based on what I've learned and what I've seen and our current numbers, I am going to suspend trials again through the end of February. And I hate to do that because I know that there's a lot of defendants and counsel that are waiting to take their cases to trial. But given the current pandemic and the current orders, along with some of the surrounding counties and what other courts are doing in those counties, I find that it's prudent to go ahead and suspend those trials, and an order will be coming down the line to that effect shortly. So, Mr. Critchlow, I do apologize for that late
Well, that's
notice.
not your fault, Judge. I appreciate your advising. You know what I'd like to do is get together with my client and see if he has an interest in waiving jury. If he were to waive jury in this matter, could we keep that same trial date, February 4th, for a bench trial?
That certainly works for the court. Ms. Plyman?
Thank you, Your Honor. So I have no objection to confirming the trial at this point with the record that's made by defense counsel, but maybe we could set a status for next week to see if that conversation, how that conversation plays out.
Okay, so what I'll do is I will confirm for trial if you'd like me to, Mr. Critchlow, but I'm canceling the jury portion of that trial, and I will set another readiness for Wednesday, the 27th. Does that work for you?
Is that next Wednesday?
It is.
Yeah, that's fine. Would you advise Steve of what we've just done so he's sure he understands that we're just, well, I can do that. Do you want me to do it?
Mr. Constantine, this is Judge Walker. Can you hear me okay?
I do. I completely understand.
All right, thank you. So you will, the next time your case will be heard is next Wednesday at 8:45, and that's to determine whether or not a trial will occur on February 4th. But just be advised that the jury has been called off, so that would be a bench trial.
Yes, I understand.
All right, thank you, sir.
Steve, I will call you in about 10 minutes, so stay within cell range, okay? Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Jacob, I do have Edward Forsman. Go ahead and come forward in the courtroom.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And this is set on for pretrial.
So yeah, I haven't had a chance to speak with Ed yet, and so what I would ask the court to do at this time is simply reset this to another date convenient to the court, maybe 6 or 7 weeks out. And I would just ask Ed to reach out to my office. If the court has a copy of our business card, maybe we can give that to him before he leaves. I didn't anticipate him showing up in person today, so else I would have been there sitting right next to him. Sorry about that, Ed.
That's all right. Can I get on a Zoom with you on this thing and talk to you after this court's done, or?
You can call me at my office afterwards.
When would be a good
and I'm glad
time?
to talk to you.
When would be a good time?
Why don't you try me around 3:30 or 4 today?
Okay.
And Your
And
Honor,
the
if you
next
could
time-
just set this over 6 weeks, that'd be great.
All right, does March 3rd work okay for you, Mr. Jacob?
It does.
Thank you. Ms. Plyman?
No objection.
All right, thank you.
March 3rd at 8:45, Your Honor.
Is that going to be a Zoom court too?
Yes.
So I can just do it from my house and do the Zoom? Okay, cool.
That's right, Ed. You can do it from your house.
Cool.
And
All
Your
right,
Honor,
thank you.
for planning purposes, is that at 8:45?
The time's up for 8:45.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Is there a Zoom number on that?
Thank you, Adele.
So these numbers are the same for all week?
Same for Wednesday. So you've got the written back.
Okay.
But this is the court hearing, and then this is our number.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.
Oh, this one's done too. All right, Mr. Crocker, good morning. And you are on mute.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I saw myself moving around on there, so I'm here, State of Washington versus James Sarachoff. I don't know if Mr. Sarachoff is in the courtroom this morning.
There are no other people in the courtroom besides Ms. Powers.
I have not heard from Mr. Sarachoff. We're here for pretrial on, I'm sorry, this is number 20001164.
Okay.
This is a pretrial in this case where the police report had him at criminal trespass second degree, but the JABS report has him at criminal trespass first degree. I haven't seen an actual complaint, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Sarachoff. I would ask to push this back until about 3 or 4 weeks, so I can try to talk to him, maybe until the 10th or the 17th.
Okay, Ms. Kleiman.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I was just reviewing the docket in Mr. Sarachoff's case. Looks like this would be the first pretrial since Mr. Sarachoff's arraignment. Looks like he was released on his promise to appear at arraignment with some less restrictive conditions. I don't see any active warrants for him currently. And given the nature of the offense, I'd ask to note the failure to appear for purposes of today's hearing, but I would not object to a summons for another court appearance, given defense counsel has appeared on his behalf today.
All right, thank you. Mr. Crocker, does February 17th at 10:30 work okay for your schedule?
February 17th at what time? Morning?
At 10:30?
10:30, yes, it does.
Okay. All right, that's the next date this case will be heard, and I will note that FTA.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Excuse me. Mr. Crocker, did you have any other case? Oh, I think that he just left. Okay.
I do not.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Crocker. All right, Dominic Compton. I saw Mr. Compton on there just a second ago. All right, we'll just keep going. Curtis Alban. Mr. Alban, I do see you on Zoom. If you are using a phone, you may need to hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is case number XC0593948. And Mr. Range, good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Well, it's nice to hear Mr. Kalbat. Alban made it through the phone tree there. I just spoke to him. It looks like he's trying to better his position to negotiate with the state. We're asking for a month. The purpose of that being he is attempting to secure his license.
Okay, Ms. Plyman?
I was just checking Speedy. Where we're at. There we go. Sandwiched in there. Sorry, I didn't catch the date.
I would just ask for a hearing in a month. So that would be late February, maybe 24th.
So it looks like we have probably 50 days of speedy left. So I will defer to the court as it is getting close to the expiration of speedy, but in the availability of the calendar.
All right, I will go ahead and set this for February 24th at 8:45.
Okay, February 24th, 8:45.
That's correct. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
You too. Okay. James McKay.
Rob, if you're present, if you could hit *6.
James McKay. I saw him on video a few minutes ago.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Can you hear me?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. This is case number XZ0730776 and XZ0730777. Ms. Powers.
And actually, I'll jump on this one.
Thanks, Melissa. I appreciate
Okay.
So Mr. McKay has 2 cause numbers on today. However, they arise out of the same incident. Defense counsel did alert me to the fact that Mr. McKay is relicensed, which does encompass one of his charges. The other charge is a possession charge of a legend drug. Mr. McKay does have matters pending across the hallway that involve substance issues as well. So in consideration of his relicense status, and then also speaking with the attorney handling his case across the hallway, I would be moving to dismiss at this time with the understanding that his substance abuse will be addressed in Superior Court through different resolutions that have been discussed, and that would be the more to facilitate all of our resources, be able to address it in one court.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kleiman.
And I'm printing that dismissal now. I didn't have a chance to file it ahead of time.
Okay, that's fine.
So, Rob, the state has dismissed both cause numbers as Ms. Plyman just delivered to the court. What I'll do is, I don't believe I have an email address for you, but I'll connect with you to get you a copy of that order if need be, okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
I think it was just acting slow this morning. There we go.
That's fine. All right, Ms. Plyman, would you like me to add your signature to this dismissal?
Yes, please.
Thank you. And Ms. Powers, did you want to sign this? It's up to you.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, I have signed that order of dismissal. Thank you, Mr. McKay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Rachel Creedle. Ms. Creedle, If you are appearing on phone, you do need to hit *6 to unmute yourself.
There she is.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Mr. Jacob?
So Rochelle might have a bit of a bad connection, but I was able to have a good conversation with her prior to this hearing, and I appreciate the court's willingness to facilitate that. At this time, Ms. Cretal is prepared to enter a change of plea pursuant to a negotiated offer made by the state. That has been a little bit 11th hour, and so what we would propose is set this over to the 2:30 calendar today. That will give Rochelle and I some time to, over the lunch hour, go through the necessary forms, and then we'll be ready to enter the change of plea over the phone at that 2:30 hearing today, if that's available to us, Your Honor.
Ms. Pyman, any objection to this hearing happening over the phone?
I will defer to the court on that one of the court's ability to, yes, make sure that Ms. Cretal, is entering her plea knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily. It is anticipated a DUI plea for the court's reference. Maybe I guess, I'll defer to the court on whether appearance over the phone for the plea is accepted.
Okay, Ms. Cretal, do you have video capabilities? Mr. Jacob, I'm not able to hear her clear enough to even understand that portion of what was happening. I'm not opposed necessarily to her changing her plea over the phone or over Zoom. However, it does need to be at a location or an area where she either gets good cell phone service or has good internet access, because it does have to be clear enough for me to be able to garnish whether or not she's entering this knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently.
Understood, Your Honor. So here's what I would propose. Let's set it to the 2:30 calendar. I'll have that conversation with her over the lunch hour. And if there's any sort of issue with her being able to get to good cell area or preferably good Wi-Fi area so that she can use the Zoom application, we'll bring that to the attention of the court at the 2:30 hearing and perhaps reschedule accordingly. What I will tell the court is that we are prepared to strike the trial date at this time, which is currently scheduled to begin on February 4th, because she has accepted that offer.
All right, thank you. I will strike that trial date, and I will set it to the 2:30 calendar. Please do have that conversation with her. If we need to reschedule that at 2:30, I'm happy to do so. It's the court's preference to have video, but I certainly understand that not everybody has that technology. But it does need to be at least clear enough to be able to have a conversation with Ms. Cretal.
Understood. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So, Rochelle, I'll give you a call at 12:30, and you can hang up now. I have one more, Your Honor. I wonder if we could take that case.
Sure.
I think it might be next on the agenda anyway, but it's Bobby Davis.
Bobby Davis?
He's not going to be present, Your Honor. He's appearing through counsel. This is actually kind of exciting for me because it's the first time that I can make a record in this court of representation vis-a-vis Galenas / the new Rule 3.4 that's going to be going into effect on February 1st. I had a conversation with Mr. Davis just yesterday, wherein he and I discussed what it was that I would be doing at this date and on his behalf, and so I will be appearing on his behalf pursuant to Galenas. Shall I proceed with my request?
Yes.
Okay. So at this time, and council, I did alert council to this, so it shouldn't be an ambush here, but we're going to be asking for dates to be set pursuant to a motion hearing or briefing schedule, I should say. The primary issue being one of ZUE, State v. ZUE, which is the newest informant tipster case that I know that your honor is familiar with. We would ask that those dates be scheduled for a time that's convenient with the court, first and foremost, and convenient with the state's witnesses. I told Ms. Plyman in an email I sent to her that we would defer to her witness availability. So I'm prepared to stand back and allow those dates to be set.
Ms. Plyman?
Thank you, Your Honor. So looking at Mr. Davis's speedy trial expiration, sorry, froze. So his speedy initiated as of January 1st. So we have some time and flexibility with the court scheduled to set the motion hearing. I know that we're kind of in flux about this new procedure. This would be a 3.6 hearing, as defense counsel has mentioned to the court. There's likely testimony from state's witnesses with the anticipated issue being referenced today. So it'd be the state's request for Mr. Davis to be present for that hearing with the potential that there would be testimony.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jacob, well, I'm just looking at dates right now. Mr. Jacob, any response to that?
Yeah, I understand the state's request. I think that I would certainly have Mr. Davis appear in some way, shape, or form should his testimony be required. But because the state doesn't have the authority to, require his testimony, I would ask that his presence be waived if that testimony is not required for our case. So I guess that's the record that I'd like to make at this point in time. Like I said, it may be moot by the fact that, after we've briefed it, it may become clear that his testimony is required, but he's somebody who lives across the water in Coopville area. He's disabled, he's wheelchair bound, and it was going to be really difficult for him to navigate getting Zoom technology to appear today in court. He is somebody who does have access to a phone, and so if push came to shove, I think he could appear by phone, but I know that's not ideal for the taking of testimony. So I can get him here if it's going to be required, but I do want to make that record now, since we're kind of in the early stages of Galenas. This is kind of the Wild West when it comes to these types of requests.
Okay.
And just wanted to clarify, it was the state's motion to the court. I understand that it's not the state's authority to order Mr. Davis be there. That's then my burden to motion the court to make this a necessary appearance. And it wasn't just that potential for him to testify, but to aid and assist his counsel in cross-examining the evidence that the state presents through testimony.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'm just looking at dates here. Okay, I'll set this for Ms. Plyman, does February 18th work for the motion itself?
Is that a Monday?
That would be a Thursday in February, and since there's not trials, we'll go ahead and do that.
That appears to work for the state.
All right, so I'm also going to make that a readiness hearing with trial set March 4th. Defense brief will be due February 1st. State's brief will be due February 10th. Does that work for both parties?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and as far as this individual appearing for the hearing, if there's any testimony that needs to be given by this defendant, or if the attorney of record, Mr. Jacob, needs to consult with this individual regarding any testimony that occurs, then he does need to show up. It is a readiness hearing as well, so if he's not present, then the jury would be struck at that point in time.
What's the time for the motion readiness?
1:30. Anything else on that matter?
Nothing from the state.
Okay. Mr. Jacob?
Nothing from the defense. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, Dominic Compton? Dominic Compton?
We can take the proceeding.
We can go ahead. Okay. I do know that he was on. I saw a video of him at least twice this morning. So he may. Hello, sir.
Hello, I'm Dominic. Sorry, Your Honor.
Okay.
Good to hear you now.
Go ahead, Ms. Powers.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I appreciate the court updating counsel about future orders regarding trials. Mr. Compton's hearing today is a trial status. At this time, we'd like to strike trial dates. That was something that I had anticipated doing regardless of the court's order. My understanding is that the state will be amending one of the cause numbers to be a full-fledged no contact order violation instead of attempted no contact order violation. With that, I did convey that to Mr. Compton yesterday evening, but we do need to have further conversation, and counsel is that the opportunity prior to trial is still good. And so what I would like to do is, we would be appearing via Zoom. I know the court's calendar is full, but potentially maybe setting this for February 3rd at 10:30. It looks like we have 15 people. I don't know if that's one too many, but either would be resolution or resetting dates.
Okay. Ms. Putman?
Thank you, Your Honor. That is correct. The state is preparing a motion to amend on cause number 2020C0061 that would amend from an attempted violation of no contact order to that of a violation of a no contact order. The state believes that the facts support that based on the investigation done in preparing for trial. That has been relayed to defense counsel, and the motion will be filed shortly. However, the parties are still actively negotiating, and so we had asked for that, or the state would not object to that continuance. I'm not sure if that takes care of both cases, moving it to the 3rd, or if we have another readiness on the other case that was set for trial on the 11th.
I believe we had the state to set readiness for both of them.
So I thought, okay.
If there's any outlying hearings, we just like to consolidate everything for the 3rd.
So you want to cancel both trial dates?
Correct. Thank you.
Excuse me. Okay. I will strike both trial dates and set both of these matters on for February 3rd at 10:30. Kevin Braden.
Yes, hi.
Hello, Mr. Braden.
Good morning.
Thank you, Judge. This is my case.
Okay.
XZ0638334. Really great to see you on here, Kevin. Your Honor, I spoke to Kevin. We had a good conversation yesterday about this case, but we still haven't gotten an offer. And so he's got some work to do, certainly, even if we had an offer in hand, to be able to position himself for a good deal. I'm asking for continuance of a month to a month and a little bit more. So my request is that this be set out to February the 24th or March the 3rd.
All right, thank you. Ms. Plyman?
Your Honor, so just for the appearance portion of it, I had Mr. Range as being marked as being taken off the case as the court's information, so I'm not sure if that's going to be updated to show that he actually is on the case. And
I have a notice of appearance from Mr. Range dated August 12th.
yeah, I think the court's record shows he was taken off on August 26th.
But there's another order on September 9th that does reappoint the Jefferson Associated Council.
Okay, I just wanted to say the participants page shows that he's no longer appointed on the case. So I don't know if that could be just corrected.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Clement.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
I was just looking at speeding this case. It looks like the request was for March 3rd as the next pretrial date. So the state would object to March 3rd. It looks like we have, trying to calculate, but we have 60 days left of speedy. So I would object to anything more than 30 days.
All right, I'll set this for, actually, Mr. Braden, does February 24th at 10:30 work okay for you?
I think that should be fine.
All right, so that's the next time that you need to be in court is February 24th at 10:30.
I will be there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
See you, Kevin.
Jason Sexton?
Yes, I'm here, Your Honor.
All right, this is case number XZ0750350.
I would
Mr. Sexton,
but
what was that?
I broke my camera on my phone, so I can't video call.
Okay, thank you for letting the court know that. Ms. Powers?
So I represent Mr. Sexton on this cause number. I do need an initial consult with him, so my request today is to set this matter over, really at the convenience of the court. I'd be asking for at least a month. And then what I would ask Mr. Sexton is call my office. I'm happy to give you our phone number if you don't have it, but call us, set up an appointment, leave your contact information.
I don't know the number.
I have to get that to you now. I Are you ready?
Yes, I am. I got a pen.
So it's 360 385 5613. Thank you. And then, Your Honor, this might be a premature request, but was Your Honor intending to also exclude time because we are suspending time limits?
Very likely. It makes sense to do that for all parties concerned.
Thank you. So, let's see. It looks like we're booked out in February pretty much. So I'd suggest March 3rd, 8:45.
Ms. Plyman?
Thank you, Your Honor. So it looks like we have about 50 days left of speedy. I think defense counsel, made the record that based on where we're at with the COVID or anticipated COVID orders, there's likely to be an excluded period. So given that, I won't require a speedy trial waiver to get to the March date that's proposed by defense counsel at this time.
Okay, thank you. So, sir, the next time you need to be in court is March 3rd at 8:45.
Okay, I'll show there.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Taylor Summers.
Hey.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is case number XZ0869506. Ms. Powers.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I have met with Mr. Summers, and he and I have had the opportunity to have our initial consultation. However, we have some outstanding investigation requests, and so to allow those time to process, I'm asking that we, come back March 3rd, 8:45.
Ms. Plyman?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just looking at where we're at with this. Looks like all of Mr. Summers' speedy restarted as of January 1st, so no objection to the March date.
All right, thank you. So, sir, the next time that you need to be in court is March 3rd at 8:45.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you.
Justin Thompson?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Are you Dustin Michael Thompson?
Yes.
All right, thank you. This is XZ0139934. And Mr. Range.
Thank you, Judge. This is an older case of mine. I've been working with Dustin on. I don't believe I have an offer on this case yet. And so I'm going to ask for a continuance. I'm going to ask that this be set out to February the 24th.
Ms. Plyman?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm just looking at dates. So I think February 24th works.
All right. So, sir, the next time you need to be in court is February 24th at 10:30.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Martin David. Martin David. And if you are on a phone, please unmute yourself by hitting *6. This is case number 2020B0114. A person with the phone number ending in 1330 Is that Martin David?
Judge, that's the number I have.
Okay,
for-
I'm on. I'm on now. Here, Your Honor.
Okay.
I use *6.
Good. All right, great, thank you. Good morning.
Did I do
Mr.
that? 6-9 *96. Sorry.
So sir, we can hear you, so you don't need to do anything more yet. You're good.
Okay.
All right. Mr.
Okay, I
Range.
wasn't sure. No.
Thank you, Judge. As the court can tell, Mr. David's been extremely attentive to this case. He's not quite ready to enter into a deal with the state at this time. My request is a continuance until March 3rd. That'll allow his continued efforts on his end, so we can show, hopefully, the state some work he's done to be able to leverage himself into an offer that's better than the one we've already received. So my request is March 3rd.
Ms. Pyman?
Thank you, Your Honor. So looks like he has 21 days of speedy left. Or sorry, he has used 21 days of his speedy. So the March date appears to work at this time.
All right. So, sir, the next time you need to be in court is March 3rd at 8:45.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, I'll talk to you then soon, Jack. Mr. Range, okay.
Sounds great, Marty.
Am I finished? Oh, am I through here? Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Draven McCauley. And this is case number XZ0592207, and there's no response.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I represent Mr. McCauley. Last I reviewed his driver's license, since this is a suspended license case, he is still suspended. He last was before the court. I'm just making sure that's the correct documents. It looks like he was last before the court on December 14th. We had a new charge in the Superior Court. So I'm just going to take a glance and see if he's still within our local jail. Okay, I'm not seeing him. So with that, Your Honor, and the new landscape about whether this would be a necessary hearing, coupled with the fact that this is a driving license suspended case, I am going to ask that we hear the DA and then set a new hearing for March 3rd at 8:45.
Ms. Pyman?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just one moment. I was reviewing. So do you see the active warrant out of Kitsap County for the same charge? It appears that Mr. McCauley last appeared on December the 14th. He was in custody at that time on a Superior Court charge and was released on his promise to appear in this case. Not sure what it was amended. I'd ask to notice FTA for the purposes of this hearing. And I'll defer to the court as to whether another date is appropriate.
All right, I will issue a summons. However, in order to effectuate the continuation of this case to eventual resolution one way or the other, I am going to make the next appearance necessary in order that Mr. McCauley appear, and I'll set that for, let's set that for February 17th at 10:30. And my reasoning for making it a necessary case is that there is an active warrant out of another county. And there's not been any communication with council. All right, Jessica Oliver. And there's no response. Ms. Kleiman and the attorneys that are on Zoom, just so you know, there's no other individuals in court besides Ms. Powers.
Okay, Judge, Ms. Oliver is my client. I have her both here in the court and across the hallway in the Superior Court. She's also represented through my office by Mr. Charlton, who is handling a dependency matter for her. She's got a lot of different cases going right now. I don't have an explanation for why she's not here, but I do know I'm in almost weekly contact with her. Our next hearing is on Friday in Superior Court. I expect that to be a resolution to a felony matter there. So at this time, Your Honor, I'll ask for a continuance. I'll ask for a continuance, somewhat extended continuance. I'm going to ask for it out until March the 3rd with her failure. Reason for that being that because this is a driving while license suspended third, I'm going to add it to the DLS third hearing on February 26th as it's currently scheduled.
Ms. Kleiman?
Your Honor, so I'm looking at Ms. Oliver's case. It appears that she failed to appear at the last hearing on November the 18th with summons for today's date and failed to appear today, with the understanding that she has had communication with defense counsel in the past. I would just ask to note the FTA for purposes of today's hearing, if not previously noted at a prior hearing. But I would ask for a shorter period of time, as I've stated in the past with cases that defense counsel is asked to set on the motion calendar, that it's essentially not fair to the state to require the state to prepare for a hearing when the defendant herself has not been showing for hearings or provided an explanation or I guess planned ahead of time to have defense counsel appear on her behalf. So if defense counsel does want to set this case on with the motion hearing, I would ask for an interim hearing to make sure that she is participating in her own case before the state is required to respond.
A quick response to that, Judge. I understand, I think, what the state's saying. Moral imperative that the state puts on our clients or not, the new court rule is pretty plain. It says clients can appear through attorneys. That's what she'll be doing on the 26th.
Well, but okay. Thank you, Mr. Range. I appreciate that, but you haven't had contact, so you can't appear for her at this point in time. According to Glenis, you have to have her permission to appear for her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this on for February 3rd, send a summons in hopes of getting her reconnected with this court and back in, back to where at least hopefully she's having contact with you, and whether she appears through you or on her own, has failed to appear today, so I am going to set it for February 3rd. I'm going to set that for 10:30. Samuel Parker. No response. And I don't know if Mr. Parker has an attorney.
That's what I show as well. I'm hoping I'm working off of accurate information after some of the other cases, but I showed that he does not have an attorney. I was clicking over to the docket and then it froze. Okay. So it appears that he failed to appear at the last hearing on December the 9th. His FTA was noted at that time and a summons was issued for today's date. He did appear at the hearing prior to that on October the 28th, and I don't see an indication on the docket about the discussion of counsel or not. I'd ask to note the FTA for purposes of today's hearing, if not previously noted, but I will defer to the court as Mr. Parker is not represented for whether a summons or a warrant would be appropriate.
All right, thank you. I am going to note that FTA. And I will go ahead and send a summons, and I'm going to send that for February 3rd at 10:30. And in that, I will also send the application for the public defender. Just give me 1 second here. And hopefully, this individual will come to court. All right, Brianna Pressler.
I don't believe she is counsel, Your Honor.
That's what I show as well. Did I recall? Yes. I do see that Ms. Pressler failed to appear at her last court appearance on December the 16th. Prior to that, she appeared to quash a warrant on November the 2nd, and she was directed to fill out the screening form if she wanted to apply for the public defender. Ms. Pressler does have matters pending across the hallway. Looks like Mr. Davies is on her case across the hallway. I don't see active warrants for her at this time. However, I don't know if she has been appearing across the hall or. So I'd ask to note the FTA for purposes of today's hearing, and I'll defer to the court as Ms. Pressler is not represented on these matters. It's a driving license fit in 3rd degree and legend drug possession case.
All right, thank you. I will issue a summons for February 3rd at 10:30. I am making a note that that is going to be a required hearing, and the basis of that is to progress this case. There's been a number of FTAs since the beginning of this case. There's a warrant that was issued already, and since that warrant has been issued, the defendant has still failed to appear since then. And based on also the warrant history and criminal history, I am going to find that the next hearing will be a necessary hearing. Andrew Ramirez.
Is there anybody else?
There's not anyone there. No response.
So I represent Mr. Ramirez, Your Honor. We had noted his FTA back on the 30th of December and set the hearing out to today. Up until the 30th, Mr. Ramirez had been appearing as required. Since the 30th, he hasn't had any intervening history. I understand that this is a DUI allegation with licensing offenses. I'm going to ask that we set this over to February 3rd at 10:30, or quite honestly, court's convenience. No his FTA. I won't ask for a summons because I see the previous summons returned. The reason for my request is with the new landscape of Galenas, this hearing I don't believe would be necessary. I do understand the court may be imposing the next one as a necessary hearing. I do have contact information for Mr. Ramirez, both in email and phone. And when I get a hold of him, I can update his address locally. He had previously been
living in the Townsend area. He had moved to this county. He was residing with his landlord, helping her with chores because she owns horses, so he was doing labor for rent. So I will do my best to connect with him, whatever the board's will.
All right, thank you. Ms. Plyman?
Your Honor, so unfortunately I only caught a portion of that. It just got too quiet. So I'm looking at the nature of Mr. Ramirez's offenses as one being a driving under the influence charge. I did review the docket. It appears that Mr. Ramirez failed to appear at his last hearing on December the 30th and was last before the court on October the 24th. What I couldn't hear, and maybe defense counsel did mention it, is whether she's had communication regarding this hearing with Mr. Ramirez. It's concerning to the state based on the nature of the charge that Mr. Ramirez is not here today, or if a record hasn't been made or has not been made regarding defense counsel appearing on his behalf. I'd asked to note the FTA if not previously noted at a prior hearing, but I'll defer to the court as to whether to take action or summons him today. But I would ask that the next hearing be necessary.
All right, thank you. The next hearing, I will go ahead and grant the defense request to set the next hearing for February 3rd at 10:30. Based on the type of case this is and the nature of the charge, I am going to find that the next hearing is necessary. It's concerning to the court that Mr. Ramirez has failed to appear now twice, and so I will note the failure to appear and make the next appearance necessary. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Joel Rivers. And there's no response, although there's someone Galaxy S25G. The person that's on the phone, can you please introduce yourself? I'm not sure who that is. Okay, Joel Rivers. There's no response.
I show that Mr. Range is on that case. I'm not sure if he dropped off.
I'm not sure.
I'll send him a quick text.
Ms. Powers, does Mr. Range have cases on the 10:30 calendar? Do you know?
That I don't, Your Honor, but I just got a response from him.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And he should be logging in.
Okay.
Do you want the inbox? So she's the top.
All right. Mr. Shadowski, are you here just for the 10:30 calendar?
Yes, Your Honor. I just logged in a bit early. Hoping to grab.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll just set this down to the 10:30 calendar. Mr. Range hasn't logged in yet. And I do see, I just looked at the 10:30 calendar and I do see that he has a couple cases on. So I'll just leave that on. That way he can appear for that. Oh, there he is. All right. All right, Mr. Range, Joel Rivers.
Thank you, Judge. Sorry for my absence when you initially called this case. I don't have any information for the court. I do have a note in the file from Mr. Jacob showing that he had been in contact with Mr. Rivers. Is Mr. Rivers present?
No, there's no response.
Okay. I would ask that court notice FTA and that we set this over to some date in February at the court's convenience.
Ms. Clement.
Encounter, I'd estimate the FTA for purposes of today's hearing. And I will defer to the court on another court date. I was just reviewing the status of where this case is and his appearance history. Sorry, I switched over and all froze. He has been appearing on this case, but I just wanted to confirm. So I heard defense counsel state that Mr. Jacobs has been in contact with Mr. Rivers, but is it correct that Mr. Range, you are on this case? Or?
That's correct.
Okay, just making sure. So it appears that Mr. Jacobs has had communication with Mr. Rivers, but not defense counsel. So I'll defer to the court as to whether his appearance is necessary at the next hearing or at least a requirement that he make contact with his attorney.
Okay, thank you. I am going to grant a summons for February 17th at 10:30. The fact that Mr. Rivers appeared at the last hearing, I'm hopeful that he will appear in the future. So I'm not going to make that finding that it's necessary at this time. I was also looking at Mr. Rivers' warrant history, and the last warrant that was issued was quite some time ago out of a different court. And so I will go ahead and send a summons. All right, and that concludes the 8:45 calendar, and I'm going to take recess until 10:30.